All right, welcome back to Happy Hour with Heather and Guest. Hold on, I'm just going to put this on Do Not Disturb before I forget, so that way we can keep talking without being interrupted by anyone.
That's a good
Um,
thing.
yes, we're in episode 73,
Mm.
and today we are going to talk about the band, I want to say Black Moon Circle.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I have my notes. I'm just looking for them right now. Here we go, yes, Black Moon Circle.
Yeah.
Before we get to that, it has been pointed out to me by both my uncle and my father. So, people whose opinions I value, who've said that this is not a legitimate stovepipe hat because it tapers toward the top and it's not the same circumference all the way up and down. So, I'm aware of that. I will now be referring to this as a modified stovepipe hat. So, I just don't want there to be trouble. If any,
I
if, Go on. I'm sorry.
I mean, I just feel like your $10 was just like, that $10 it could have gone toward a stovepipe, an actual stovepipe hat.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, to make matters worse, it was $12.
What?
So,
12 twelve
well,
dollars.
I think I told you when I was looking at hats initially, and I was looking for a collapsible stovepipe hat because I
Yeah.
thought that would travel well.
Yeah.
And the only one that I found was $240. And I felt like I'm not at the point in my life where I'm willing to spend $240 on a joke yet. I feel like at some point I'll get there. But for now, a $12 knockoff stovepipe hat that I learned later on is not up to specifications. I think that makes it even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I, I just think it's so funny that they pointed that out to you, that it's not a legitimate stovepipe hat.
Well, yeah, I wasn't surprised that my father did.
Yeah.
Um, my uncle was more. It was more not the hey, did you know? That's not It was just like I don't think not that my father did it in a cruel manner, but his was more matter of fact. I guess when you grow up in Georgetown, New York, you've seen your share of stovepipe hats. So, but I will continue to wear this,
Okay.
and
Okay.
I might, lead a parade one day or, do something. Whether these might become fashionable again.
You never know. You never
Anything
know.
is anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Okay,
Yes.
well, thank you for letting me address the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
I just didn't want it to get out of hand. So,
Okay.
modified stovepipe hat, episode 73. We're talking about Black Moon Circle. This was your pick.
Yes.
Um, so please take us away.
Black Moon Circle, and they're out of Norway. So, we've been on a tear lately with space rock, and that was not by design. Not by design. That was just kind of the way that things worked out. So, this is another space rock band. This band has quite a few albums dating all the way back to 2014. These guys are the masters of long, psychedelic, spacey jams. Their newest album, Leave the Ghost Behind, it was released in April. It's an incredible hour and 25 minutes long, which I think is wonderful. I'm an album person. I like listening to entire albums. This is an album that you can just sit down and listen to the whole thing. Just, carve out some time in your day and do absolutely nothing and just listen. Listen to an album that's almost an hour and a half long. um it's probably the reason, since I like albums so much, it's probably the reason why I like this band so much. This album has a lot of really cool spacey synth sounds, a lot of incredible guitar riffs. There's some cool bass riffing too, especially in the song Radiant Sun. Feels like a great jam session. The vocals are very chill with a unique delivery that I think it really complements the music. Their album is distributed through Crispin Glover Records in Norway, which I thought that you might get a kick out of that.
Oh, absolutely.
Since you're a movie,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're a
Well,
movie.
I didn't know
Um,
if you were, I didn't know if
yeah,
you were going to go back to. No, no, yeah. Crispin Glover. I mean,
yeah,
I would be very interested to know if he has anything to do with that Crispin Glover records, or if it was just sort of an homage to him.
yeah.
But
And it's funny because their logo is like his hair. You know how his hair is.
mhm.
Their logo is like how his hairline,
Yeah. Well,
which I thought was pretty awesome.
yeah. I mean, I already liked the band and the music. I listened to the most recent album this morning,
Yeah.
and the fact that it's being distributed by Crispin Glover Records only makes it that much better. Um, so what was interesting for me is I went to um, I went to look them up to see, like I started listening to the music, and then I got a sense of what I was listening to, but I wanted to see how other people described it. So I found the beginning of what's on Bandcamp, but it had been cut off, so it just read Black Moon Circle is dedicated to dark psychedelic space rock driven by a disposition towards prolo. And I
Ah.
was thinking, and so for a while I was like, prolo? They have a disposition towards prolo. I have no idea what that is. It sounds really cool. I'm thinking, okay, they're Norwegian. Perhaps prolo is something from Norway. It turns out that the rest of it reads disposition towards prolonged jams. So from now on, I'll be referring to long songs as prolo. But yeah, it was really interesting because well, I feel there's a guy named Lloyd with two D's on Bandcamp. This is what he wrote: space rock, psychedelic rock, rock and roll, whatever handle you give it. This is good, very very good. Riffs galore, lightning solos, solid rhythm section, and synthesizers to fill in. Last but not least, the vocals smooth and gritty. This all adds up to some fantastic jams. 7 songs, the shortest of 5 minutes and the most over 10 minutes, and the longest at damn near 23 minutes. If you like jams, this is great. Did I mention jams? So yeah, and there were a lot of times where I kept finding, like you had said, you put on the album and you just listen all the way through. There were moments where I lost track of time, where I was like, oh, okay, I still have, another 45 minutes to listen to this. And then all of a sudden I look up and there'd be like 10 minutes before I thought it was time to do something else. And I was just like, what? And then I was just like, oh, I must have just been in the pocket with the band. So they have the possibility that you will just fully immerse with the music, possibly have an out of body experience. And yeah, the shortest song is 5:17. The longest song is 22 minutes and 52 seconds. And it reminded me when I was a kid, probably until I got to high school, my family and I would go down to the Jersey Shore for Memorial Day weekend. And we would always go to this diner that had those radios, or the like, not radios, but like those mini jukeboxes at the table that if you put a quarter in it would play a song. And I remember somebody once telling me that if they ever found Mountain Jam by the Allman Brothers, that's what they would put on because it's a half hour, so they'd basically get music the whole time. So I was thinking Black Moon Circle, if those things ever come back, or maybe I'll just get one made and have it at my kitchen table, and rig it up like Tom Hanks does in Big, so you don't need to pay any money, but just have it play. I mean, I guess we have that with with like a laptop or Spotify or streaming. You can just, or on your phone, you can just do what I just said. But I still think it's cool to have that little jukebox. I'm just going to stop talking now because I've clearly gone clearly gone off the tracks.
Yeah, if you go back and look at some of their other releases, they have they have one song, like one of their releases is one song that's like 42 minutes long or something like that. And then they have like a release that's two songs and each one of them is like 25 minutes. So they like to release these long, jamming songs,
Yeah, that's
and
that's right. It's
to
it's
me,
interesting too. I'm sorry, I'm
yeah.
cutting you off.
Well, to me, it's almost like a form of like when you listen to this, like what you said, you kind of got lost in it. It's almost like a form of meditation. You know, just just being still and just listening. And getting immersed in it. It's almost like a form of meditation, and you kind of don't think about anything else except for just listening to the music.
Yeah, you could theoretically do a mindfulness meditation practice with this music and just let it sort of take you wherever it goes. It's interesting though, when I heard the first song off the album, Snake Oil, um, the first thing I thought of was when I was in New Orleans, the people would pronounce oil Earl. So, and I remember one of my friends came up to me and said, "How would you pronounce this?" And he held it up, and it was OIL, and I said, "It's oil," and he'd go, "No, it's Earl." So anyway, Snake Earl reminded me a little of War Pigs by Black Sabbath. Just
Ah,
not that it sounded the same, but sort of the song construction. So going into it, I was like, okay, this is going to be spacey and psychedelic, but it's going to be more on the rock and roll side of that than on like the Hawkwind. Even though there are synths, it's still very heavy, which isn't necessarily a combination I think about often, like heavy psych, even though I guess there's probably tons of band out there who are like, "Whoa, we're heavy psych. What are you talking about?" So don't
yeah.
listen to me. The other thing I wanted to ask you, I did a quick search for if Black Moon Circle meant anything, and I couldn't find anything having to do with Black Moon Circle. I found there a black moon, I guess, is when the moon has a specific shade, and I think based on certain astrological ideas that could mean something in particular. So I think one thing I read is like it's the best time for casting spells or doing rituals is when there's a black moon. So that's how I'm gonna choose to take it. Like a black moon circle has to do with a ritual. Um, Again, gentlemen in Trondheim, Norway, if you know the answer to this, please feel free to let either Heather or I know. Um, yeah. I mean, I guess I kind of want to know. Like, there's fun in speculating, but with something like this, I think I would like to know what Black Moon Circle actually means, if it means anything.
Yeah, yeah. It could just be a cool name.
And that is true. I
Yeah.
remember there's a famous artist named MC Escher who does a lot of those pencil drawing, like the he does a lot of famous pencil drawings. There's one where he's holding it's from the hand holding a ball, and you see the reflection. There's another one of the stairs going upside down, people walking on the upside down stairs and stuff. If you Google MC Escher, you'll find some really cool things. And his son came to my school to talk about his father's work, and we saw a slide where it was these little alligators that were crawling along a writing desk. And he said, people always ask me what the things on the desk symbolize. There's like a typewriter, there's an address book, and he's like, they always, come up with these really incredible ideas. And I say, no, that was just my father's desk. That was just the typewriter on, there's no bigger meaning to it. So Black Moon Circle may not mean anything other than just this is a cool name.
Yeah, yeah. Or it might have something to do with, something in space, the moon and space and, kind of go along with the space theme. Could mean something
Yeah.
like that too.
Well, I like the fact that it gives you enough room if you're crazy like me to come up with various ideas of what you think it might be
Yeah.
without being so over the top. It's like right in the middle of something mysterious but also pretty simple. So, well done,
Yeah.
Heather,
Yeah.
suggesting Black Moon Circle.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And it's funny because the last few weeks, the last few weeks of the bands that we've been talking about have been in that space rock pocket, and I just think that's funny because because we both have picked, and not there was like no thought or no design behind it. It just happened, and I just that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Especially because mostly what we listen to is kind of more on the doom side, and space rock is more on the stoner and psychedelic side, so we're getting the best of both worlds, I think.
definitely. And there could be something that we don't know about at play here that the universe might be like, I think they should talk about more space rock. So
That could be.
yeah, so we're gonna leave hints that we should talk about Black Moon Circle or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Well, next week I think we're going to be talking about a band called Murloc and then Mothman and the Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
So I don't. I
Yeah.
mean, I know it's my pick. I don't remember exactly what Murloc plays, so it'll be
And
interesting.
yeah, it's not space rock.
I don't. It doesn't have that sound to it. And Mothman and Thunderbirds certainly isn't. So
No, so we're finally going to get off this space. We're going to be getting off space rock for a while, I think.
yeah, we'll
Yeah.
return back to Earth, and
Yeah, we're going to come back to Earth. Yeah.
yes, but we'll probably blast off again.
It was
You know.
fun though. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
it was
yeah,
fun. It was fun talking about it, and I'm a big space rock fan, so it was fun. It was fun. And I don't know if that's really that well known of a I don't know if space rock is really well known, you know.
that's a great question. Um,
Yeah,
if
I
you're
don't
if
know.
you're if you're a fan of space rock and you're out there and you'd like to let us know, feel free to hit us up.
Yeah, so it's kind of fun to delve into some different genres that are maybe on the lesser known side, kind of
Absolutely.
like subgenres.
Hmm.
It's kind of fun to delve into those sometimes.
It is.
Yeah. And it's funny because my favorite kind of music is doom, but my favorite band is King Buffalo, and they're definitely not doom. They're heavy psych. So so it's like I love heavy psych and I also love doom. So there's I like talking about both.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we'll keep branching out as we move forward and
Yeah.
find a ton of different genres to talk about. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
starting to like the fact that this is a modified stovepipe. At first I was disappointed that it
Yeah.
wasn't legit, and now it's like, yeah, I like this. It's my own thing. I'm making it my
Yeah.
own thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Cool.
it's a different look, you know.
It is. There's only one
Yeah,
Abe Lincoln,
that's
so.
true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Well, we'll be back next week from Murloc and Mothman and the Thunderbirds.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
I only listened to this most recent Black Moon Circle album. So now I have an opportunity to do a deep dive on their previous, especially once you mentioned there's a 40-minute song. Forget it.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing this evening.
I saw someone made a comment that they thought the album was too long. I'm like, what? What? How can an
I
album
feel
be
like,
too long?
yeah, I feel like when people say it's too loud and the response is, if it's too loud, you're too old. I feel like there needs to be a similar, if it's too long, then you're too old, or something. There needs to be
Yeah.
some comeuppance.
Yes. 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 I agree with that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this evening I will be hoping to try and listen to it all in one sitting. I'll let you know how that goes. But anyway,
Yeah,
thank
I
you
mean,
as
it's
always.
Sunday. It's Sunday. I mean, hopefully it's a day of relaxation and, you know, sitting
Sure.
and doing, sitting and chilling and listening to some good jams.
Yep. That has been a lot of my Sunday today already, and I don't see why that won't continue in the future.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. But as always, thank you. I'll give you
Thank
a
you.
I'll doff my cap, and we will be back again next week.
Yes. I'll see you next week.